Man. That's one way to really get the hype going for this podcast. What's up, everybody? It is me, PenguinRage. We are live here on Twitch, and we are recording episode 8 of the Games Reloaded podcast. Of course, you can be listening to this from home on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or more, or you're tuning in right now on Twitch. So thank you if you are. Make sure you jump into the chat, say what's up. Let us know your thoughts and questions and topics to go along with the show. And finally, having us back this week, we have Professor B, after he was gone last week and required me to do the show by myself, which actually turned out pretty good.
Hey, you did fine. You know, you're giving me, you're bitching at me and everything, but you did fine, all right? Well, no complaints there. But yes, it's good to be back. I know it's been a couple weeks or whatnot since I've been on here. Just been crazy coming back to Norman and whatnot, and was gone for a little bit, but, you know, good to be back here.
Oh, yeah, them video games. And
oh,
those
yeah.
things. Yes, but it's good because there's lots of things to talk about. We can yell because Stephanie's gone!
Wait, really?
I mean, I'll yell anyway, but if anybody that tuned into our live stream last Friday, clearly you heard lots of yelling, so it's all good. But anyway, just so that you can know about it in case you haven't known before, I am PenguinRage. I am a variety streamer here on Twitch. Make sure you tune in every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night as we do stream various games here at twitch.tv/PenguinRage. And then Monday nights, we're doing what we're doing right now, recording the Games Reloaded podcast. And like I alluded to before, make sure you search for the podcast on podcasting services such like iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, or just tune in on Twitch on the VODs, the old episodes. So we got some good stuff anyway. Like I said, we got Brian back in the house. I don't know what he plays. He probably doesn't play many video games. But, Brian, what's going on in your world? What games you been playing and racking up the hours with?
Well, back when No Man's Sky came out, I was putting quite a bit of hours into that. Since I've been back in Norman, I don't think I've even played it quite yet. I think it's, you know, it's one of those laid-back ones that I'm sure I'll have an afternoon or something or a Sunday or whatnot that I'll want to just get back into it and play it a little bit more. But with the school year kind of starting and the craziness that was the few days before it, it's just, you know, don't have as much time to play, and I think I'm kind of giving that back to Overwatch, and I actually hopped onto Destiny for a few hours on Sunday, so probably the first time in, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, basically, since I got Overwatch. It was the first time I kind of hopped on, and it was good. They're still doing the, what's it called? Why am I blanking on it?
The Nightfall.
No, I did the Nightfall, but the super competitive mode, the one, not Judgment, not House of Judgment. Wow, why am I blanking on it? You know, it's PvP, but it's the one that your light level matters, your equipment matters.
It starts with an F, doesn't it? House of Wolves.
No. It's what Rise of Iron is about. It's the
God, Brian, you just
I don't know. It's the Iron Lords, the same thing. Whatever. You know, the thing where it's really competitive in Destiny. We're doing that quite a bit with Matt. I don't know why I completely am just blanking on it. And then obviously Overwatch. Season 1 of Overwatch is now done. It was pretty good. I didn't get to quite play it as much as I wanted to towards the end because I wasn't with my PlayStation. I was away. And but that's basically it. Just still Overwatch the main, and Destiny played there a little bit, and I'm sure I'll come back into No Man's Sky here sometime soon.
Oh, well. Funny story about all that stuff. So here's what I'm going to preface all my shit with, because I'll tell you what. I'm a fucking idiot. Because here's a PSA to everybody out there. Back up your fucking game saves. Just putting that out there. Now, obviously, if you have a PlayStation 4, you have PlayStation Plus, and it is your primary console, all your game saves should automatically upload to the cloud so they're backed up. I have a different PlayStation, one here in the studio.
Iron Banner. Fuck.
Iron Banner. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I have a PlayStation here in the studio. I have one in the living room on the big screen, you know, for playing games out there, lots of people over, and for TV mainly. And then I have one in the bedroom for Netflix and chill. Hey, ladies, you know. And, you know, I like certain games laying in bed is just the best way to do it. You know, No Man's Sky is a great example. The Witcher 3, great example. Grinding long, slow-moving games. And
the slow burn.
So long story short, my primary console that does the uploading is here in the studio. So then I can, buy a game digitally from the office, come home, game's ready to go, so I can play it right away, start streaming, whatever it is. Obvious reasons why this is the primary. But my other one in the other room has my long grinding games like No Man's Sky and The Witcher. Long story short, it bricked the other day. The console's fine. I just had to reboot it from scratch and had to download the initial firmware from on a flash drive and make the console work. So the console's fine. But I lost all my shit, all my game saves. So I have some stuff backed up onto the clouds to a certain point. I don't know how far back it is. I'm scared to even think about it or even look. But point is, everybody out there, back up your shit. So now I have a external hard drive plugged into that one. Back up your shit. Just putting that out there. So with that being said, the games I've been playing was No Man's Sky. We talked about it a bit on last week's episode. So still enjoying that. Nice 30 minutes here, an hour there type of game. Slowly moving through it. A little bit more Witcher here and there whenever I can. I also, obviously, continuing on with Overwatch, playing with you guys. We streamed yesterday and on Friday. Lots of Overwatch. But most recently that just came out was F1 2016. That's the new Formula 1 game by Codemasters. Absolutely fucking incredible. I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, if you're a racing motorsport fan, you're an F1 fan, this is probably the best or one of the best in a long time from everything from the ground up. Not just the career mode. They have a full-blown career mode again where you literally do everything in the paddock, from going through contracts and your agent and what team you're going to work for and what money you're making and shit like that, to the amount of going through practice sessions, qualifying, playing the game, adjusting the car, strategies, the way the car actually feels when you have different tire compounds on when you're driving and the wear of the tires. It's incredible. It's very well done. So kudos to the guys at Codemasters for making that shit happen. Go check it out if you're a fan of the game. There was a PS Plus pre-order discount on PlayStation, but it's $59.99 pretty much on everything. Xbox One, PS4, and I'm sure it's on Steam as well. So yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. I mean, a lot of good stuff. So Brian, unless there's anything else that you just forgot and that dropped off.
Is F1 a full $60 game?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if it was one of those that they put it at $50 or something like that, because I mean, I'm sure it's probably more popular in Europe and whatnot, but you don't really hear about it too much over here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's busy enough over here, but it's still not obviously like the biggest of the big. Obviously it's not. Formula 1 just as a sport in general isn't that massively big over here, so it is what it is. It's
more of a European thing.
Yeah, it's more of a European, or it's a world sport for that matter. But anyway,
well, of course. I mean, it is. Yeah, I know it's a world sport, but I mean, like, of just known popularity, it's definitely more people know about it, I think, in Europe than kind of over here.
Yes, definitely. So definitely enjoying it though. So if you're a fan of motorsport, it's definitely worth checking out. Sorry, it's something just was giving me a weird notification over here, but we're good. So with that being said, shall we transition into the news, Brian?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, for the kids. So anyway, one of the things we always make sure we touch on is what games are releasing. We're kind of going through a lull period where it's not as crazy, cram-packed, nuts as it normally is, as it is the summer. But this week, we actually have a larger week with a couple big releases. One of which is a sport that is very big here in North America, is football. So Madden NFL 17 coming out tomorrow, the 23rd. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. It's probably on 360 and PS3 as well.
Now, honest question, Kyle. How many people are still playing Madden? No, I know I'm not going to be ignorant to that fact, and I know that there are people still playing it, but I don't know anyone who still plays Madden.
Well, stop and step back for a second. Think about the type of people you hang out with and your friends.
Yeah, crazy football fans.
No, but they're not. In comparison,
are you fucking kidding me?
Right, you hang out with like physics majors.
No, I'm talking about Matt, Harrison, Reed. These guys they are crazy football fans.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that.
But none of them give a shit about it anymore. Everyone is either playing NBA, the 2K games, FIFA, or something else. Like nobody seems to be playing, at least what's around me, and I don't hear anything about it. It doesn't seem like people really care about it too much anymore, just in my experience of what it seems like. Because I go back to many years ago, and it was the biggest. Like, even people didn't really care about it too much. It was talked about because it's the next Madden game, and there used to be Madden Holiday, things like that. But
right.
We don't have to go too deep into this, but it was just an honest question of like, are you gonna get it? Do you know anyone that still plays it?
Well, I mean, I guess that is a relevant thing. I used to get them. I used to play them, pretty competitively, and I don't buy them anymore. But I don't really buy many of my games anymore, so that's probably part of that factor. But
if you cared about it, you would have bought it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Madden's big. I mean, it probably sells the most of all the sports games besides NBA. In North America, if FIFA probably worldwide would win that battle, but I don't know. I mean, you might have a point, but I bet you when Madden releases, if you were to drive up to your local GameStop tonight for the launch, I bet you have a ton of fraternity guys and college kids.
I'm not doubting
there.
that it's there. It was more so just an open question of something that maybe next week we can try and, or whenever we do the next podcast, we can try and jump on and just see like what the numbers are. Because
the numbers won't probably come out till next month when the MPD releases at retail.
Okay.
But we can dive into it, look into that, and that could be a topic of, these sports games. Do they really need to come out every year the way things work now?
I mean, no, they don't.
It should honestly maybe be like a $20 patch that comes in with the updated rosters, some new features in the game. Like, honestly, it's a season pass if you really think about it. The way other games work, like Destiny. You go and spend $30 on an expansion pass, and it has all this extra stuff. So, I don't know. That's a tough one there. I mean, I still think it's pretty relevant. They still have their esports categories. I think a lot of it still plays very competitively. I don't know. That's hard. That one's really hard to say. So, I don't know. You have a better outlook on it than me. I mean, I think you just will have to kind of walk around the campus or your fraternity house and talk to college kids and see if people play it.
Well, and that's also what I'm basing it off of, is everyone in my fraternity, they're playing NBA or FIFA. I don't remember the last time anyone has said he'd come over and play Madden.
And I think FIFA really has kind of taken over a lot of that.
Or Rocket League at this point.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's still a very relevant title out there. Is it as big as it was maybe back on the PS2 era, PS3 era? It's hard to say, but... I still think it's up there. So next up is Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. For those of you who don't know, this is a continuation in Deus Ex series from Square Enix. I have not played the previous ones in the past. I actually have some interest in this one, so I'm hoping to maybe land a copy, see if I can stream it, that sort of thing. But it's not majorly on my radar. Shout out to the Kind of Funny guys today. They're doing their brand new studio stream, so they're streaming for 12 hours. It's sponsored by Deus Ex, so they actually just did a Let's Play live playing the game for quite a while there on their stream. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks very stealth-based, Metal Gear-esque strategy, but first-person shooter, or is it third-person? I think it's third-person now that I think about it. So, yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. Anything of interest to you there?
No, I mean, I've never thought they really looked all that interesting, and that's, maybe I'm just wrong about that. Maybe it's a game that I really would like, but again, it's just always this case of there's games that, like, if they don't, I have to be able to get my hands on it and try the game, and I don't know anyone that's going to get it, and I'm not going to go drop $60 to go and try it. I mean, and especially too when I'm going to have less and less time to be playing games, I got to pick and choose what I want, and it's not really a title that I think stands out too much to me. But every once in a while, I will. I mean, if it's pulling tens like The Witcher 3 was, then I might pick it up. That was exclusive. I had no interest in The Witcher. When I was just seeing the reviews out of it, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up, and I tried it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I think Shadow of Mordor is another great example of that, where it wasn't on a lot of people's radars, and it reviewed so well, and people started streaming it, and it looked so cool that people went out and bought it. Wolfenstein's another great example. So, I don't. We'll see when the reviews come out tomorrow, but I don't expect it to probably be, above the 7-8 range from what I saw. But it still looks neat. If you're into that series, it's out now. And lastly, which I don't think we'll talk too deeply on, King of Fighters 14. If you're in the fighting genre, King of Fighters is another one that's up there with the recognizable names such as Tekken, Street Fighter, that sort of thing. So if you're a fighting fan, go pick up King of Fighters. So those are your major game releases of this week. All right, so let's get further into the actual news of the week. So we'll start this off with what happened today and what was announced today, that Sony is increasing the price of PS Plus. They're increasing the year membership to $59.99 starting on September 22nd. So now this is a $10 increase for the entire year. But my question to you, Brian, is, does it matter? Should people be upset?
I mean, people have a right to be upset anytime a price increases without an increase in content. Yes, I mean, whatever. I mean, people will have a right to be upset, and people will give the reasons of the PlayStation and Plus games aren't what they quite used to be, and more games are doing their own dedicated servers, like Overwatch are all on dedicated servers, Destiny's all on dedicated servers, and it's like, well, some people, I think they just feel that they pay for a service and they don't really get anything out of it because they don't really care about the PlayStation Plus games, which is their choice. I mean, people can still get the value out of it, and so like you can't make that argument and not say some people could get the value out of it. And some people, like I said, the games they play, they all play on dedicated servers, so it's like, well, what is Sony really giving me? But I mean, I think people do blow it out of proportion, and they're like $10. Well, $10 over the course of 12 months. I mean, it's less than $1 increase per month. It's not the end of the world, but I get it. I think the biggest thing people were kind of complaining about is not so much that it increased by $10, but people are kind of wanting to reach out like, okay, can you give me a $30 option that doesn't give me the free games?
Yeah.
Just because some people they said I really don't care about 2D side scrollers or anything like that. They're like, just opt me out of it and let me save, maybe $20-$30 a month. And I can agree with that. I mean, I used to play the shit out of all the PlayStation Plus games, and I can tell you I haven't played one in probably 8 months. I mean, I download them every single time.
Still playing one called Rocket League.
Yeah. Okay, Rocket League is probably the last one. And what was that, almost a year ago, maybe? It's been a while now.
Yeah, it's probably about a year.
And that's probably the last one that I've really played enough to say I got a value out of it. And I can agree to it to an extent, but at the same time, too, it's and then you give the competition argument. It's okay. Xbox is still charging $60 for for Xbox Live, which it has been for about 5 years now. But then you give the opposite and say, well, everything's free on PC. And
well, you can't. It's not the same. I mean,
no, it is.
You can. I mean, I guess you can.
Steam is the exact same thing as PlayStation Network.
But not
in a lot of people's eyes. It's the exact same thing. I know
it
there
is,
are some.
It is, but it isn't.
Servers.
There's a lot more that goes into that, this and that. So, and you know that better than anyone. You don't use Steam as a chat client. So there's the servers that have to go through, whether you're using Discord, Curse, Skype, whatever the hell it is. You're doing all that through PlayStation, and everything's a unified platform. So it's a little different. The friends list
and I'll give some credit. I mean, yes, for those type of cases, you are using Sony services, but it's like, I think people are talking about there's an alternative on the PC that everything is free, and I can agree with that. I think this price point would be okay, but I can agree with some people. It's like, okay, maybe you need to give an alternative price point, something like maybe $30, maybe even $40 that would make people feel a little bit better, and don't let them get the PlayStation Plus games, because I can tell you a lot of people would jump onto that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also on the other side of the coin where people do got to realize, and bitch all you want, but PlayStation Plus came out in like 2010. No, that's not right.
No, I think it was a little bit before that.
It was before that, because I was still in high school. I graduated in 2009. So it's probably 2008, 2009, something like that. And it's been the same price since then. And all they've done is continue to add more and more free stuff that you get from the number of games that you download with PlayStation Plus. Obviously, some TV content, discounts in the store, etc. And obviously, most importantly, the ability to play multiplayer games using the servers, all that good stuff. So in the course of, I don't know, how many years? Regardless of however long
6 or 7, right?
Right. It's a long number of years, and due to market inflation and the way the market changes, that's actually pretty damn good. And Sony made that in their statement today to keep up with market values, or whatever they want to call it. This is why it has increased, and they said they're going to continue to roll out new initiatives for PlayStation Plus as a platform.
And I think that's fine. And like I said, I don't really care. And
PlayStation VR is coming. telling you right now, there's going to be stuff they're going to roll out for free or certain experiences for Plus members only.
And that'll be cool. If they give us some more free stuff, then I think people will feel a little bit more justified. But I think the couple of things right now that people are upset with is, one, if they continue to just get, not really, like, I mean, the honest truth is they're not getting AAA titles on PlayStation Plus like they kind of used to back in the early days of it. And two will be if there's if there is a PlayStation outage that is even more than just a day, or let alone even just a few hours, people are going to freak the fuck out because they're like, what is my money going to?
Well, they're going to do that regardless.
I mean, regardless, yes, no matter if you're paying for it was free, you're going to have things that go down. And I think it's been good. I don't remember the last time PlayStation Network had an outage at this point. Now I think it's been
Xbox has actually had like 2 or 3 since the PlayStation had their last. Now, not long, prolonged, but I think it was the Christmas. Was it last Christmas or the year before that? Where the lull
but all I'm saying is they just got to cover their grounds and make sure that nothing comes out from it and make sure that they do have that right. And the third thing will be with Microsoft making this big transition over to combining the PC and Xbox marketplaces. I can tell you there is a push or there's a pressure on them right now to get rid of the price of Xbox Live because people on PC, again, are playing the exact same game for free. Well, and if Microsoft comes out and says Xbox Live Gold is now free, then Sony's got to do the same thing. There's nothing they can do about that.
Sorry about my autistic moment that I just had on camera there. I just took a drink of my drink and missed my mouth. I mean, I see that point, but I think people are really going way too far with this. I think $60 is the market norm because that is what Xbox Live does. I think the fact that they haven't increased the price in 6-7 years is telling. That's very nice. And they continue to roll out more stuff, and they're going to do more stuff, they said, for the future. VR, I think, is a great example that, I don't think there's any reason to bitch. I also think the comparisons to PC is not necessarily justified because it is not one-to-one.
Justified.
No, it's not. Gaming. It's not because it's not one-to-one. That's like saying you should play a PC or you should play console. You can't do one-to-one.
No, but it's still it's something that.
You also can say your PC has to be upgraded every year, 2 years. When your consoles, you don't. So, I mean, you could make the same fucking
maybe
argument.
With how it's going to be, maybe we do now.
Well, you don't have to buy a slim PlayStation. You don't have to buy a Neo.
On PC either.
All the same games will run.
I'm in the console side of things. I'm just telling you, I get where the argument's coming from.
People are saying, this is why you got to let me finish. I'm saying the argument makes more sense on the Xbox platform because now you will literally be playing the games that you would buy a console mainly for 2 reasons. One, because you just prefer the simplicity of a console, the cost factor, everything like that. Or B, the exclusives. Now that the Xbox exclusives, Gears of War, Forza, Halo, are going to be coming out day and date on PC, we had this conversation a few podcast episodes ago where you don't need the Xbox anymore. You can play the exact same games probably at a higher rate of everything on the PC for free with no Xbox Live Gold needed. So, yes, that makes a lot more sense. It's apples to apples. But I'm saying is, I get it. There's still many, many reasons to own a PlayStation to where it's not a direct comparison. It is still comparable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and I'm just saying it's now a major negative against a console world of that it costs more money in regards to just simply being able to play. Like once you have the devices, it costs more on PlayStation than it does PC right now. And that applies beyond even just services. Games are generally cheaper on PC also.
Yeah, especially with Steam sales and everything like that. And I completely understand. I think over the course of a regular console life cycle being 4 or 5 years, I still think the console is still a cheaper way to go than the PC over the course of 4 to 5 years from what the rate of change is on a PC. However, that gap is now narrowing. It's not as wide as it used to be. That's for damn sure. But no, these are things that are going to have to be justified, and I think PlayStation has proven now with a lot of PlayStation Plus sales. Like I said, I bought F1 because I pre-ordered it with PlayStation Plus for $53 when normally it's $64.94 with tax in the store. So literally, I saved over $10 right there.
No, I get it. I'm just speaking on behalf of things that I've read about, and people are just saying. I think the biggest thing out of it is that people are just wishing they could get a PlayStation Plus game version, like just a multiplayer one that's just $20 or $30 a year.
But they're not. They're never going to do that, and the Xbox is never going to do that either because
But yeah,
it's a value proposition that shows this is why it's worth this. I mean,
I will very much stand by the point though that if Microsoft makes Xbox Live Gold free on Xbox One, then Sony's going to have to do something.
Well, yeah, but I don't think they will, because there's many back end reasons as to why they wouldn't, especially with first party games requiring services and stuff like that. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think, like you said, I think giving consumers more options is going to be the way to go. Where there is a free option, which there currently is, but you can't play multiplayer games, you can't do party chats, all that stuff. But I think there needs to be a middle ground. It's like, okay, you don't get the free stuff, but you still have to pay $30 or $40 a year. I think that's fair. $30, $40 a year. I mean, I'd still keep the one with the free games, because there are, a lot of times some very good games that come on there. And honestly, it's my own fault for not downloading all of them every month. But yes, it's mainly been indie titles lately. But Rocket League, another example of an indie title that should not be considered indie. But we'll see. We'll see where the future lies. I think there's going to be a lot more VR type content in the future, not just games. I think it's going to be experiences, types of stuff like that. They got the partnership with NASA. Lord only knows what they're going to do. But I honestly think where it's same with Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, where consumers got to start being a bit more privy to PlayStation Plus flash sales, or pre-ordering a game ahead of time, and you get, like, I saved $12 on pre-ordering the game because I'm a Plus member. That's the whole reason. I mean, starting to transition more and more to digital versus physical. But, I mean, it's just like, I literally saved $12 than rather going to the store and buying a physical disc. Like, that's insane. Just because I'm a Plus member. So they're starting to understand these things. The market's new. But I think if the internet or the consumers start to realize that these types of sales, and PlayStation and Xbox need to lift them up, make them bigger, they start doing the Steam summer sale type of stuff where it's a big fucking deal. I think you're going to see a lot more people realize, we're like, okay, I pay $60 a year for PlayStation Plus, but I just saved $10 on F1, and that's in one day. So if I do this over the course, let's say I buy one game a month, that saves me $5 to $10 a game, pays for itself immediately. So, it pros and cons, plus the free games and everything like that. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it's up to market standard. Xbox Live is, so you can't make Xbox is cheaper or PlayStation is cheaper anymore. They're the same. So, no big deal. Anyway, moving on. Brian, I'm going to let you run with this. There is a new tech-related news today for people that game on their cell phones. I don't know why the fuck anybody would, but anyway, Android Nougat.
We can just roll on past it, but it's just that Android Nougat came out today, and it's the Android 7.0. It's got some cool new features on it. More than likely the phone you own probably won't have it for at least 2 or 3 months unless you have a Nexus device, or if you're going to pick one up that comes out this fall, then it probably will have it on it. But it's just kind of a thing out there that usually this doesn't make the biggest publicity because it's not, anything crazy, but some of the new features look pretty cool. If you're interested, just Google search it if you're into that, but just thought we'd put that in there. So the next thing that we'll kind of talk about a little bit is Overwatch has announced a few things that they're going to be showing off for the Season 2 and the next patch they're putting out. So the next patch is going to be putting in a couple nerfs and a couple boosts. I don't think they probably have announced all of them quite at this point, and some of them will probably be very, very minor that might not even really officially announce it. But Zenyatta is going to get nerfed a little bit. I can notice it very much since he got boosted. He seems to be doing a little bit too much damage. I mean, he's still supposed to be a support character, but it's very frustrating because it feels like I run around and Zenyatta is able to put more damage out faster than, say, perhaps Tracer is. But I don't know, maybe that's something more I've just noticed, but obviously there's a reason they're nerfing it. And what is it? What's the name? Mei and Mercy are both getting boosted, and I don't know exactly what they're going to do with those. I think with Mercy they mentioned that she's going to get a new ability, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So we'll see what goes on with that. The other thing too is they've announced a whole new ranking system they're going to do for Season 2 competitive. I don't know too many of the details along the sides of it, other than that instead of it doing it from a 0 to 100 scale in ranking, they go from 0 to 5,000. So they've explained that now whenever your, like say when you win or you lose a game, expect to probably move quite a few numbers instead of it being like, a half or a quarter of one rank. So hopefully that gives a little bit more, I don't know, preciseness to how well you did in the game or whatnot. I think they said they're going to try and balance it a bit better in that, or at least have a little bit more explanation as to why you go down as much as you did or go up as much as you did. So if you didn't increase your rank as much as you thought you would, or if you went down a lot more than you thought you were supposed to, I think they're going to try and make it a little bit more open with that. And what else? I think that's mainly it. I think like there's other small little details that they're throwing in there. I think they're adding in kind of like a tiered system. I don't know exactly how they're going to work this out, but I think they said they'll add like a bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond type of things like that. And you would still have your placement matches and things like that, but I think you kind of get placed into a category. And even if you lose a bunch, you can't get out of that category unless you're like master or grandmaster. So that way, people don't feel like if they have a bad day or whatever like that, they're not dropping a significant amount. They're still playing against people of similar caliber. They just, doesn't push them down as far as it maybe has in the past. And the other big thing they kind of announced with it is there's a new map coming out. I'm blanking on what the title of the map was. 1 second. I think what was it called? Eichenwald. I think it's German. Great. But that is obviously coming in there, and that looks like a pretty cool map. It's an actual castle, so that'll be interesting. Oh, and they also did say they're going to change some of the rules up for, I don't think there's going to be any more sudden death. Like they mentioned, they're going to make it so that, I don't know exactly the details, but they're changing it up so no more sudden death along in the game, which people were a little upset because of the whole coin flip thing. Was usually pretty not the most fair way to go about it. Well, I'll go on to the next topic because we're still waiting for Kyle to come back here. The PS4 Slim leaks, or leaks of the PS4 Slim, have come out. It seems like some guy, I think it was in the UK, was able to get his hands on one, and it wasn't like just a picture at the warehouse. He had a box that contained a Slim PS4. And there was a lot of, when it first was kind of shown off, of disbelief, like, oh no, it's not real or whatnot. The guy has since taken it out of the box and has plugged it into a TV, and it seems like the real deal. Which it looks pretty cool. I mean, they were able to make a small console even smaller. It's not on the level of like PS2 small, but it looks like they got it down to like an even smaller, like kind of notebook-looking type thing. Got rid of the kind of like touch buttons. Now they're real capacitive buttons, or not maybe not capacitive. I don't know if that's the right word, but real buttons that you're pressing, and so that's pretty cool. But otherwise, I mean, it looks like a slim line, a little bit less fancy PS4. I mean, it doesn't have all the flashy light on the top, and it's not quite as edgy or whatnot as you would say the PS4 is, but it's still kind of, it looks pretty cool, and I think it's kind of what I expected. But yeah, so Kyle, you back here now?
Yes, I am. I apologize for that, everybody, and I got to send quick thing on my phone as well. But yeah, tidying up something. But you just talking about Overwatch and everything there with the new updates and the new map.
Yeah. Not over that. I mean, like I said, I was talking about the Slim leaks and that it was kind of, people weren't believing quite right at first that it was the real deal, but the guy took it out of the box, plugged it in, and it seems like it's the real thing. So, what are your thoughts, kind of on the look of it?
I mean, first thing I got to say about the Slim, and just in general, is it's hard to believe that it can honestly get any smaller and more slim than it already was. So kudos to Sony and somehow working some crazy ass magic and making that happen, because I mean that it's already super sleek and small in comparison to any other console out there. So very impressive. I think it looks okay. I still think the new one, the original one, still looks better. I think it's sharper, the edges and everything like that. But I think it's impressive that it's slim, and we don't know any of the specs or if it's going to be more powerful, like 4K output for movies or anything like that. But it's apparently going to be a lower price. They're probably doing what they do with all their slimline consoles over the years and discount it a certain amount, and it's probably replace the PS4, and it's going to be a nice option. And then obviously we all know the Neo's coming, so. What do you think?
Cool.
I didn't hear what you thought.
No, I already talked about it quite a bit. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I think it looks like a cheaper version of the current PS4, but I think every time they announce a slimline one, it kind of looks like a little bit just less flashy version of it. Even the PS3, with it used to be all shiny and whatnot, they went to the all matte black version of it, and it just keeps a general form factor to it, but it just looks a little bit less expensive, kind of is the way. So the next thing that we talked about would be the PS4 4.0 update, which you know more about than I do.
Yeah, so the 4.0 update just went into beta form, I think just a week ago, which I was fortunate enough to receive, so I'm definitely enjoying it. Oh, and shout out to Mirage Leonard. Thank you for jumping in. He said, look up Dwarves PS4 game trailer. Looks really good. We'll have to do that after. But, yeah, so 4.0 update. I got the beta. It's spectacular. I'll just go down the list of what a lot of these updates are. So they're doing a full UI refresh. So they included a new quick menu. So when you hold down the PlayStation button, it now just takes up the side of the screen. So it doesn't cover your whole screen. It's much more snappy. It's much more quick. You can customize what is actually going to be there on that quick menu screen, which I think is awesome as well, because some people use things more than others, like party chat or adjusting the controller, like turning it off and on and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome. They updated stuff to the share menu, which I actually hadn't played around with either, but not going to cover the whole screen once again. And if it's much like the quick menu, it's probably going to be much snappier and quick. Also, the thing, and I think probably the biggest news out of it is what everybody was clamoring for and asking for, is folders and being able to organize your library. So there's not much more else I can say about that. It's what everybody's been asking for. I don't know why it took so long to get there, in all honesty. But you can honestly finally add folders and move your shit around and organize it. And there's some tweaks to the user profiles and trophies and stuff like that. But, it seems to be very snappy. It seems to be snappier. And the quick menu I do really, really enjoy. So what of that are you looking forward to, Brian?
I mean, I think it'll be one of those that once I have it, it'll be a nice, I'll get so used to it, and it'll probably be so convenient that I'll learn things of wow, I didn't realize it took me 8 clicks to do this on the previous version of the PlayStation, and it seems like, they're just going for efficiency on user basis, which is good. Folders, cool. I mean, I've never been one to really care all that much, but it'll be something nice to do. I'll probably just have the games I'm playing currently, and just a single folder like that, but otherwise it's never really been that big of a deal to me. But hey, you know what, if it speeds things up and it makes things a little bit easier on a user interface basis, then I'm all for it. I mean, why not? But yeah, I'm looking forward to whenever that hits. Hopefully it doesn't have any issues of bricking a certain number of consoles, which they always do, but hopefully there's no big ordeal out of it.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, I think everybody's going to be really excited for it because it's a lot of the little things that people are asking for. I don't think it's a massive update, but I think it's stuff that people are wanting, and it's improving, obviously, speeds of stuff that we use every day that we don't really realize, like the quick menu and holding down the PlayStation button. So, yeah, that's really the big thing there. But, all right, so what all did you talk about with the Slim leaks, Brian? Because that'll let us lead into the topic of the show.
I talked about it a lot, so I think it's probably good to go from. There's not really much to talk about. It's there. It happened. It's coming. It looks pretty good. Let's wait for the initial announcement.
Perfect. So, what the topic of the show is tonight is we're going to be talking about this PlayStation event that's going to be coming up on September 7th. So, PlayStation sent out some invites to members of the media as well as significant PlayStation influencers to come to this event in New York City on September 7th. Same location, much like when they first unveiled the PlayStation 4 at that PS4 reveal event, which was in New York. So, we obviously saw the Slim leak today. We've seen the documents, and Sony's acknowledged the Neo, but we don't know anything about it. Ryan, what do you think this PlayStation event's going to be, and what do you kind of anticipate or predict will come out of it?
I think they realize that in order to make the Neo a success, they need to hype the living shit out of it, and I think they're doing exactly that. I think they nailed it with whenever they initially did announce the PS4 by doing an event like this, because it's an event that's going to circle around one thing. And I think what they're going to do with that is they're going to do a really cool montage. They're going to really cool light show. They're going to do whatever, show off the PlayStation Neo, announce what the official name of it's going to be and whatnot. And I think it's just going to be all about that device. And I'm sure there's going to be other little things they're throwing in there, like everything that you've kind of said. A slimline, I think something will be mentioned about that. That won't be the big hype. That'll be something that they'll say, okay, here's this. It's coming out in 3 weeks, and it's going to be at this price point. Clap, 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 clap. Okay, back to the Neo. The new Vita, I don't know. Maybe. Are they going to release it this year then? Like, I don't know what the point of it doing at this point would be. To me, the Vita seems more like an E3 announcement than doing like its own standalone announcement. But I don't know. I might be wrong. It's possible. I mean, I think maybe if you're more something along the lines of thinking like the PSP Go type situation, where it's not really a new device, it's just redesigned, then maybe it could be something like that. But I don't think they should do that. I think if they're going to do a new handheld, they need to go all the way in and really, invest in and make a really good handheld. And I think just redesigning the Vita is not what we want. No one's going to go, just like the PSP Go. I mean, I know some people bought it, but it wasn't the life extender of the PSP that I think they were kind of looking for. It was kind of like, well, okay, cool, and I think for the Vita, it's going to be the same case, that it's still a Vita. I mean, people who have wanted a Vita have probably already got it.
I think that's probably the biggest thing there. And, the obvious thing is the Slim leaked early, so they're going to talk about the Slim. They're going to probably talk about whatever that price point is on that device, and they're going to make sure that, people understand what this is. It's, just like the PS2 to the PS2 Slim or the PS3 to the PS3 Slim. It's nothing really changing. It's more efficient. It's dropping in price. Here's this is the PS4 going forward, just the regular PS4. Now, the next obvious thing is the Neo. That's the big mystery. The documents leaked on it. We know a little bit about it. Sony's acknowledged it, but they haven't told us squat. They haven't told us when. They haven't told us how much. They haven't told us what the differences really are, who this really caters to, what this is. So I think this is where they're going to do that. And, the fact that they're doing this big reveal type live event in New York, the same place where they unveiled the PS4 from the get-go, this is why I think they're going to go deep into the Neo. I think they're going to be like, hey, here's the Slim, here's the price. It's coming up very soon. Go get it. It's a great entry level for anyone that hasn't made the jump to next gen yet. It's nice and cheap. It's the way to go. Then they're going to transition. But for those of you that have a 4K TV, that are the hardest of the hardcore, that want the latest and greatest and things running at the most pinnacle form possible, here's the Neo. And I think they're going to be like, hey, it's coming out this holiday. I think it's probably going to be out there with timing with something big, one of the big holiday titles. And I think it's going to be a price point that's not actually going to blow anyone's minds. I think it's going to be a good, decent price, probably around the price of where the PS4 actually launched, which is, pretty awesome if that does actually happen. And I truly think that then this is going to be a showcase of here's what it can do. And then I think they're really going to show off, here's the games. It's running smoother. It runs better. It's nothing crazy. You're still going to get an amazing next-gen experience on the PS4 with the Slim or the regular PS4. But if you have a 4K TV at home, this is a luxury item for you. It's much like getting the iPhone 6S or the Plus version of something where the phone's still very comparable and does very much the same thing, but it has minor improvements, but still runs the same UI and still does the same type of stuff. I think it's also going to have a big part to do with VR. I think VR is going to have a big part of this show. I think they're going to show off a lot of the content that's coming out with VR this holiday season. I think they're going to talk about the future of VR, where it's going, why it's maybe better with this Neo console, and they're going to just really drive that home. And lastly, I really am confident that they're just going to really try and get that messaging out there of why this is for certain people. It's not that huge of a deal. So
exactly, and that's why I'm saying that I think they're making it its own event so that there's no confusion alongside something else. Like doing it at E3 can sometimes be conflicting because you have so many things you want to show off at E3. But if this is just a specific, maybe the event's a total of 1 hour or an hour and a half, of that. They come out, they say what it's going to do, they show it off, they do a few good montages, they make it seem like it's really cool. That someone comes out, they says, yeah, if you have this and you're interested in this, then you're going to get this type. If you're just looking for a console to play and, you're on more on a budget, then here's the PS4 Slim for who knows, maybe it's going to be $200. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. But I think they're going to try and make this big event to make sure it's understood that there is the difference between the two of them. And I think honestly the best way to do that would be one thing. I think in order for the technology to be there, the Neo needs to be something like $500. I don't know if we're going to do that, and I don't think it's going to be the technology. Everyone's kind of maybe looking what it might be. And do something like the Slim is $200. Like make this huge distinction.
I think it'll be somewhere in there, like $200, $250 for the Slim, and then this bad boy will be $400, $450, something not ridiculous, but it's still a premium device, a luxury item, if you will. So yeah, I think that's where it is. Now, the touch on the Vita, the only reason why that's even something, there was a leak from like a Chinese gaming forum or something like that where this guy has been correct on the last couple things, and even he had some mock or a drawing of what the PS4 Slim looked like. This was like a couple months ago. And then now that the Slim's leaked, like it apparently looks very close or identical to what he somehow leaked or showed off. I do not have the original stuff. I haven't seen what it was, but apparently he has hinted that Sony does have a redesigned PlayStation Portable. I don't know what that means. If that's a slimmed down Vita, if it's a Vita 2, it's a brand new portable device. It's going to be more hardcore, have R2 and L2 buttons, and really take on the NX. I don't know. Do they need it? I don't know. But it is Sony, and they could. And I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me either if they try and do this whole unified everything. Maybe it has some tie in the VR. No, I don't know, but who knows? It is definitely a possible. I mean, anything else out of there that you'd want to see from these guys?
Not really. I mean, I think with it being maybe a Sony exclusive event, if they threw out some new IP that we haven't really seen much of, or maybe not a new one, but they show more information about the PlayStation exclusive IPs, show them some things there, but I think it seems pretty obvious to me what the point of this convention or this event is going to be, and that's going to be about the Neo and the Slim. And I'm not setting my expectations high that they're going to throw anything out. Oh, and they're probably going to talk about VR and stuff because that's relatively close. So I imagine they're going to have something new along the lines there, but I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm not crazy hyped for it. I don't know if there's really going to be anything super relevant to me. Other than maybe the Slim, because I'm not going to get a Neo because I don't have a 4K TV, but, maybe a Slim or something if it's really that inexpensive, but, we'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and I also think, something I meant to say a second ago, but is, I don't know, it very well could be. I wouldn't be surprised if they showed off a new game that has not been revealed yet, or one of their upcoming games, and really to focus and show off the 4K and what the Neo does. And the only reason I bring this up is we've had a lot of stuff percolating online of Red Dead, the next Red Dead game from Rockstar, and this has been kind of rumor mill for the last almost 2 years that it's coming. They've been working on it, and all the rumors out of E3 that it was actually supposed to be at the end of Sony's press conference, and that they pulled it because of the mass killings that happened in Orlando, and that it was a similar type of thing. It was in a bar or a nightclub, and not a nightclub obviously, but Western, but a bar where a guy's in there shooting them up and everything like that. So because it was very odd how they showed off the new game from Sony Band. I can't think of the name.
I'm blanking on it too.
Dead Don't Ride was the original name of it, I think.
Yeah.
anyway, the Sony Ben game, to where they showed it halfway through the conference and they came back at the end and were like, hey, we're going to play a live demo of it now, which just is not how you end those things. It still was cool, but it wasn't the way they do it. It's not the norm.
It felt a little bit forced. It wasn't bad, but
the rumor was it was supposed to be the new Red Dead. So
yeah, and maybe that's something they'll do here. That would be an event that would make sense.
Rockstar's main offices are in New York. If they're working with them to focus and show off this game on the Neo in 4K looking fucking spectacular, I mean, it could happen. I don't know. This is pure speculation, but it very well could happen. So we shall see. We shall see. I think that's, it's going to be very interesting when September 7th rolls around. So September 7th, Sony's apparently going to live stream it as well. So stay tuned on Twitch, YouTube, and everything like that, and we'll find out more. Well, Brian, that brings us to the end of the show. Unless anyone else has any last-minute things to poke into the chat or anything else that's coming through, I think that's it for episode 8. Of course, once again, you guys can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and everything. So make sure you go subscribe there, and YouTube. Otherwise, you can tune in every Monday night where we do live stream the podcast as we are recording it. So for those of you that did tune in live, thank you for being here this evening. And everyone out there listening post-show, we appreciate it. I am, of course, PenguinRage. Follow here on Twitch, twitch.tv/PenguinRage, and on Twitter @PenguinRage Live, where you can share your comments, predictions for the PlayStation event and everything like that. And Brian, where can people find you?
@BStevenson014 on Twitch. That's @BStevenson014. Again, shoot me questions or whatnot too. Even though I'm not on every single week, if I am on that week, I'll bring it up. If not, I'll pass them on forward to Kyle.
There it is. So thank you again, everybody, for being awesome. This has been a great recording of the show. Leave your comments and questions out there into the comment section as well. And we will be back with another episode soon.